Hello and welcome to Jadwiga's fairy tale channel. Kuzmo and the Fox is a story from Japan. Once upon a time there was a couple who had a single son, a handsome, nice and smart boy, but he was incredibly lazy. He did nothing. He did nothing, neither in the house nor in the garden nor in the field. No work at all. He was just lazy. And his parents were desperate. And one day his mother said, "Oh, I think Kuzmo would be happier if he lived on his own somewhere, wherever." And the father agreed. So he brought Kuzmo to a little cabin deep in the forest, and he gave him an old horse, 5 chickens, and a straggling rooster. So Kuzmo lived there on his own, and he was not unhappy, not at all. He went out for hunting and enjoyed life. One day, after he had left his cabin, a fox came along, smelt the chicken and got one and ran away. When Kuzmo returned back home, there was a chicken missing. And he was wondering who might have done that. So the next morning, when he went out for hunting, the fox came along and said, "Hi, Kuzmo, are you going for hunting?" "Yes, I am," said Kuzmo. And the fox went right away to the cabin, got another chicken, and left. So when Kuzmo returned back home that night, and another chicken was missing, he said this might have been Fox. So the next morning when he left, or before he left, he closed the windows and the door, locked it all, and then went out for hunting. And again he met the fox, and the fox asked, "Hey, Kuzmo, are you going for hunting?" "Yes, I am," said Kuzmo. And the fox went straight to Kuzmo's cabin, found the windows and the door locked, and was angry. But then looked up the chimney and said, "Well, that's an entrance." And he climbed up the chimney and entered the house through it. Now Kuzmo had been hiding behind a bush and had watched all that, so now he ran to the door and called through the keyhole, "Hey, Fox, you thief, now I've got you, and I'm going to kill you." "Oh, no, no, no," cried Fox from inside. "Please, please save my life. Please let me live. I will make your fortune." Kuzmo was hesitating, but listened. And the fox said, "Well, I will make you happy, I will make you rich, and I will make you get married to the king's daughter. You just have to pay me in advance." Kuzmo decided to agree. And Fox asked for another chicken fried in fresh butter. And Kuzmo prepared another chicken for the fox. Now Fox ran to the castle where the King Thunder and Queen Lightning lived. And he bowed deeply and said, "I came to arrange a marriage. You have a fine girl, a beautiful daughter, and my master is going to get married to her." The king was surprised and said, "Why does he come himself? Is there anything wrong with him?" "Oh, no, 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 not at all," said Fox. "It is just he is the ruler of all the wild animals, and he has to keep an eye on them." A ruler of wild animals is a strange kind of son-in-law. But the king thought for a little while, and then he said, "Well, if your master brings me 40 times 40 wolves, he can marry my daughter." problem, said the fox. He ran to the edge of the forest, and there he started dancing and singing and hiccuping as if he had eaten far too much. And a wolf came along, curious why Fox was in such a good mood, and said, "Hey, Fox, what's the matter with you?" "Oh," said Fox, "you won't believe it. I just returned back home from the animals' banquet at the king's castle. Why have you not been there?" "Animals' banquet? At the king's castle?" asked the wolf. "I like parties. Could I go there too?" "Of course you can," said the fox. "It is just the king's cook does not like to cook small portions. He loves to have a huge amount of guests. So come tomorrow, come to this place and bring 40 times 40 wolves with you, and I will lead you the way to the animals' banquet." And indeed, next morning, 40 times 40 wolves appeared and followed the fox to the castle. Outside of the castle, Fox made them line up in 40 rows. Then he went inside and said to the king, "My master sends you 40 times 40 wolves with his deep respect. Just see." And when the king looked out of the window, he saw 40 times 40 wolves. And he was very amazed and said, "Bring them to the stockyard." But at the same moment forgot about his word and said, "Well, if your master is able to bring me 40 times 40 wolves, he might as well bring me 40 times 40 bears." "No problem," said the fox, ran back to Kuzmo and said, "I am very hungry. I need another chicken. Please fry me a chicken in fresh butter, because I have to be very fat and well fed for my job." And Kuzma took the fourth chicken and fried it in fresh butter. The fox ate it with great pleasure and then ran out to the forest, to the edge of the forest again, where again he started singing and dancing and hiccuping, when a bear came along and said, "Hey, fox, what has happened to you? Last time we met you were so skinny and now you're really fat." "Oh, yes," said Fox, "this is because I eat at the animals' banquet at the king's castle." The bear was surprised. At animals' banquet at the king's castle? "Yeah," said Fox. "Tomorrow there will be another one. You may join me, but you have to bring 40 times 40 bears with you, because the cook does not like to cook small portions. He likes to have a feast." And next day, 40 times 40 bears followed Fox to the castle, lined up in 40 rows, and when the king looked out of the window, he was very pleased and said, "Well, your master has very good fur. Now I wish him to bring me 40 times 40 mink." "No problem," said Fox, ran to the river where he started his dancing and singing and hiccuping. And not long a mink came along and said, "Hey, what's the matter with you?" "Ah, I have eaten too much trout," said Fox. "Trout? Trout? There is no trout this time of the year." "Oh, sure, there are tons at the king's animal banquet." "Oh," said Mink, "trout? Trout? Oh, I want to go there." "Sure," said Fox, "you can go there. Come tomorrow with 40 times 40 brothers and sisters, and I will bring you there." And they came. Fox brought them to the king, offered them with his deep respect from his master, and king was very glad and said, "Well, tomorrow my daughter is going to get married to your master. should come tomorrow. Fox ran back home to Kuzma and said, "Oh, I need another chicken. I am so hungry, but tomorrow you're going to get married to the king's daughter." "What? What?" "Well, not tomorrow," said Fox, "but wait, very soon." He ate another chicken and the rooster as well, and then next day Fox went to the king and said, "I'm so sorry, but my master cannot come." Oh, the king was suspicious. "What's wrong with your master?" "Oh, there's nothing wrong with him," said Fox. "It is just he wants to share his gold with you. He wants to give you half of his gold, but he doesn't have enough baskets to count it, to weigh it. So he asks you to borrow him about a dozen bushel baskets." He needs a dozen bushel baskets to count his gold. Oh, he must be rich. The king has never heard of anybody so rich that he needs baskets to count his gold coins. And of course, he gave these baskets to Fox. And now, Fox ran home to Kuzma and said, "Hey, take your horse and your saw, and I am sure you will never ever have to work again. Just follow me." And they went to the bridge that crossed the river to the entrance of the kingdom. "Now, take your saw and saw these pillars that hold the bridge, saw them almost through. And this will be the last work you will ever have to do." Kuzma did as the fox said, and shortly after that, the bridge flooded away. It broke and was taken away by the river. And now Kuzma said, "Well, send your horse away and take your clothes off, let them run away with the river, and you swim, and when you're blue of cold, you climb this rock in the middle of the river, and there you wait for me." And then he hasted to the king's castle and said, "Oh, help, help, what a tragedy. It's terrible, I cannot tell." "What's the matter?" asked the king. "Oh, it's a tragedy, oh dear king. My master brought all of his gold to you within these baskets, but when his coach was right in the middle of that bridge, the bridge broke, and all of the horses, the servants, the gold, and my master were flooded away and drowned. I am the only survivor because I ran ahead to show the way. What a tragedy. Oh, dear king, please send some servants. Maybe they can help him." The king was upset, and immediately he sent servants out to look whether maybe the master, at least him, would have survived this tragedy. And he was deeply ashamed because his bridge had caused this trouble. Well, the servants, of course, found Kuzma shivering and blue of cold, sitting in the middle of the river on that rock, and they brought him dresses, king's dresses, and they dressed him up like a king. And when he was brought to the castle, the king was very happy and said, "Oh, I'm so glad, I'm so sorry. My bridge caused that tragedy, but I'm so glad you survived." And the same day, they arranged the marriage, and Kuzma indeed never ever had to work. The only thing he had to do, but he loved to do that, was preparing chicken and fresh butter for the fox. And he did that till the end of the fox's day. Kuzmo and the fox.